'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even SK Hynix and Crucial and Micron and Samsung. Everybody was hanging their stockings with care, hopefully that the RAM would soon be in there. But we doubt that. But anyway, let's get the party started. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back once again to the channel. You know it is Gigi with you once again. First time here, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell so you know when I post the next video or live stream. So you don't want to miss out. Make sure you always hit that subscribe button. And if you already did, we do appreciate you. Anyway, today we're going to be taking a look at one good old thing I wanted to look at with y'all, and that is seeing if there's any Christmas cheer left for last minute shoppers. Excuse me. And what I mean by last minute shoppers, to see if there's any stores that got any good sales on or anything that's last minute that can help you guys out to get your PC parts for a cheaper price. Don't forget your drink and snacks, by the way. I got mine, and it's good. Alright, so let's go ahead and go over to the action screen and see what I got cooking. Alrighty, now we made it to the action screen. We get the big cursor in here. Oh, yeah, somewhat big, but it's good enough to know. Let's see what they got cooking. Looks like they got some combs and stuff I recently looked at. They got some motherboards and stuff like that. But it doesn't look like they're really packing anything that's for sale. So let's take a look at the graphics cards. If I can spell right. Nope, can't spell right. Let's see what we got. Is there anything cooking? Let's see, on sale. Let's see if there's anything on sale. Oh, no. 3060, looks like it's 329. See, that's the thing. For 350, you probably can still get the 9060 XT 16 gigabyte. You know, see right here, well, they got it for 380, but that's not too bad of a deal. Could have been better. They got a 7600. Let's see, one more row and we'll go from there. Nope, those are just cheapo cards. 550, 750 Ti. No, not really. They don't have anything cooking over here. So let's do DDR4 motherboards. Let's see what we can find on sale. Let's see if we can find anything on sale. Let's see, they got a B760p DDR4 Pro series for 107. Yeah, that's Intel. They got one for 139. They got a B550 Eagle with Wi-Fi 6 for $99. Not too bad. Still got a little bit of value to it. They got an H610, which I really don't recommend the 610s or the 520s. They got a MSI MPG B550 Gaming Plus V1 gaming motherboard for 95 bucks. That is a sweet little deal for 95 bucks. Well, it's X99. We don't deal in X99s, even though I got an X79 sitting next to me, but it's got Wi-Fi 6E. It's 119 bucks. Not too bad. It's got a 760 here, 760 MA, MA-D4CSM. Well, that's kind of got CSM in it. It's kind of got legacy in there, but it's a commercial CSM motherboard. Um, we got an MSI B550M Pro VDH Wi-Fi Pro Series for $95. They got some very banging deals. Some very banging deals for DDR4 motherboards. They got an ASRock B550M HDV right here, 5000 series, $70. Wow, that's cheap. That is some cheap mobos. We'll go one more click just to see if there's anything else that we can look at. They got the MSI B550A Pro for $90. That's not bad. I mean, for DDR4, that's not bad. You guys are saying, well, why am I focused on DDR4? Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't think you're going to be focused on DDR5 right now, but if you're looking for something for your kid or something just to get you out of the box for gaming, it's a good way to go. It's a good way to shop right now because these motherboards are not expensive. Back a couple months ago, they were expensive and RAM was cheap. Now RAM is expensive and motherboards are cheap. They balance out each other. That's the whole purpose of me going through this with you guys, is because when you got something that's low in cost and one that's higher in cost, and they start balancing out each other. So if you're going to pay, I know for 64 gigs of RAM, it cost me $130 back a couple years ago. But now, to get 64 gigs of RAM, that's over $220, depending on what RAM you buy. But it's about $220 now. So cost went up about 40 some bucks. But the motherboards, if you get a motherboard for $70, that usually MSRP sale, the motherboard was probably $189, and you get a really banging deal. So you're balancing the two. So your motherboard's cheaper than your RAM. So you get in a balance, and you balance the two. Guess what? It's still the same price. As crazy as that sounds, you can get it at the same price that you paid 2 months ago. You just don't realize it. You're just blinded by the fact that you're hearing the RAM cost too much on this side. Well, DDR5 is costing too much right now. DDR4, you can balance between your motherboard and your system RAM. So basically, you can get the same good motherboard for a cheaper price. And when your RAM is high in price, you can balance the two, and guess what happens? You get a deal for both. Basically, you get a $189 motherboard for $90, and then you get $220 RAM, and then you bring it up, and you balance the two. So, both combined would be less than $300. You probably get it cheap for about $275. So, and put it with $150 processor. There you go. You can game all day long. I mean, the 5700X only cost me $169. So that's not a bad deal. Plus, for when we get to the processors, we'll go from there. But let's move on. So you guys got the idea of the motherboard. Now let's go to the top and see what we can find for RAM. Okay, let's see. That's a notebook. See, what we want is we want DDR4. We want 32 gigabytes. Okay, we want desktop, right? And we want DIMM. So that'll nail it down for you really good. See, they got right here, they got 204, they got Silicon Power, 32 gigabytes, CL16, so that means 3200 megahertz CL16 for 204. They got the Corsair, plus they don't have any price for it, so we move on from that. Time Tech, I don't know. A Data, I don't think so. Not at 2666. Um, Silicon Power, 3600 megahertz. That's not bad for 234. Paired up with the right motherboard, I bet you it'll rock. So I don't know this company, so I'm gonna. This says compatible with Dell, HP, Lenovo, and custom builds. 5-year warranty. So this looks like it's for pre-builds, basically. It says and custom builds, but for 32 gigabytes for 3200 megahertz CL22, that So that's telling me it says dual rank 2R X8. So I hope they got two 16 gig sticks in there. That would be a deal breaker. They got Gigastone 32 gigabytes. They got 4 8 gigabyte sticks, but that's too expensive. I wouldn't pay that. They got the Samsung right here, CL22 at $200. That's not bad. Kingston Fury, it's not too bad. What else? I don't know this company, so I'm not going to recommend it. I'm not going to recommend that neither. Not that neither. Crucial, without the heat spreaders, 32 gigabyte, 2400 microtransfers. No, I don't recommend that. Game Pro 3600 CL18 for 274. That's a little on the steep side. That's not too bad for 32 gigs, but it's not the greatest neither. Because like I said, I got 64 gigs 2 years ago for $129. So we'll go one more page and see what we can find. Replacement for Kingston. Got to really watch these guys, because I don't recommend any of these replacements. I really don't. I wouldn't even trust replacements. No siree. Just when you shop, do your diligence and look very carefully before you buy. Now this one, this says Clev Bolt DDR4, but they're saying $157 for 32 gigs. They're saying I would imagine this is refurbished or used. Not too sure. King's Bank, I'm not sure about this one neither. It says overclocking with heat sink. PC gaming office, I'm not too familiar with that. Team Group, I don't know. I don't care for these. Don't have a heat spreader on them. Yes, I know you can get, $9. You can get a pair of heat spreaders for them, but it's just, if you're going to pay that kind of money for it, you should automatically get them with the heat spreaders. It's just my opinion. I mean, and now they're throwing all the garbage out there. Well, yeah. Well, can't see too much on that, so let's see. Let's go and find out M.2 NVMe SSD. See if they got anything on sale. Let's see. 500 gigabytes. That's kind of steep for 500 gigabytes. Let's see. 1 terabyte. 1 terabyte. It's the P310. That's the short one. It looks like it. Yeah, it's the 20. This is the 2280, and that's the 2230. Boy, they're really scraping the barrel now. Oh man, people are really scraping the bottom of the ocean trying to find this stuff. Kingston, 500 gigabytes. Silicon Power, 256 gigs. I remember when 500 gigabytes was that price. 1 terabyte in SN770 WD Black. That's not too bad, but when usually you can buy a 4 terabyte NVMe SSD for like 200 and some bucks. But now you got a 2 terabyte for 200 and some bucks. That's crazy. That's just nuts. We're really scraping the bottom of the barrel on Amazon this week. No. No. Oh, man. You're really getting people are really putting out the trash. My God. People are really putting out the garbage. They're putting any kind of name they can on them and trying to sell them. I mean, seriously, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Oh man, guys, you hear me complaining because it's basically the bottom of the barrel when it comes to this, the NVMEs. Let's see. Anything else I can think of? Let's do one more. Let's look at PC cases. Let's look at PC cases on sale and see what we can come up with for at least a decent price. That's not a bad case. That Mustex case isn't bad because that's a 360 by 240. So $75. That's a limited time deal too. They got this one right here, the Cooler Master, the Masterbox Q300L for $35. I don't know about airflow, but it doesn't look like it comes with fans. They had a Corsair 3500X. Neat little case. They got the Montec ARB ATX Mid Tower. I'm kind of looking for something that's going to wow me when it comes to the cases. I know you guys are looking too. They got an Antec Flux. That's not a bad case. That's if you want to do an ITX build. That'd be perfect for a little ITX build. Yeah. See, this case for $90 comes with 6 fans. It's 360 by 240. So that means you can put a 360 there or a 240 here. You can put a 120 on the back if you wanted to. Or if you wanted to go to the bottom, you can put a 360 on the bottom. That's if you do a water cooling system. You can do it up just right. Pre-installed 4 no RGB fans. So they give you 4 no RGB fans, 3 on the side, 1 there. Corsair 4000D for $89. They give you 3 Corsair fans. That ain't worth it. Not for that price. Because this one here, same price, gives you 6 PWM or ARGB fans pre-installed. 6. So that means you got 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 fans. The 3 on top, you're going to have like an AIO cooler, so you're not going to need the extra 3, as they're going to be on your AIO cooler for the top. So you got 3 pulling in air, you got 1 pulling from the side, 3 and 1 pulling in, you got 3, 4 pushing out. That's a good combination. I like that too. That looks really interesting. I like that. That's a nice white build. That's a Mustex case too. It's a 360, well, same one, but it's a white build. You can put fans down at the bottom, on the sides, up the top. Nice little white build for 70 bucks. Oh yeah. We'll go one more. I got this. Not the exact same case, but I got one like this. Mine's a 360 by 360. They got a panoramic one right here with 3 fans pre-installed for 50 bucks. Wow. So that means you can put a couple fans at the bottom. You can put a 240 at the top. 240 on the side. Nice. Nice. Not interested. I see this case right here, this Johnsbow V12. Let's have a peek at this. I was looking at this case earlier, and I sent it to Mr. Machine, and it's a good little ITX. It'd be a good little ITX build. To me, it looks pretty simple, looks pretty sleek. It's got glass all the way around for the panoramic view. You got a 240 in the front. You could probably put 96s or 2 smaller fans here. Probably Noctua or something like that. And it should take a 310 or something like that. 310 millimeter. Let me see. Says 280 by 301. So say a 280 by 280. That'd be perfect to fit my Acer's Dual 2-fan 2-fan card, 120 millimeter fans. That would be perfect. Just eyeballing it, futuristic kind of thing, kind of thinking about it. They got some cable combs too. Yep. This one right here, they got 5 PWM ARGB fans. That's not going to be enough. You need 6 at least. I like this one. This TK1 black. I like how that looks. Let's get a... Wow. Sweet. That would be an ultimate build right there. Fans down at the bottom probably. Fans up at top. It's probably a 240. Wow. Yeah. Solid 240. That's not too bad. I like how that looks. That looks really cool. Looks really cool. Alrighty, let's go back to the main screen and finish this up and we can move on with our lives. Okay, guys. This was an interesting little shopping trip. Just to have a look and see what's out there, what's left. There's not much left, I can tell you that. So, but there is a little something out there. As far as putting like your motherboard, your case and all that together, you can still get a decent build from AM4. Or if you don't want to do AM4, you can always think about, going Intel DDR4 if you want. Or if you're just touching things up and you already got DDR5 RAM, but you want a really snazzy motherboard, I'm sure they got some decent motherboards for AM5 or, DDR5 for Intel. I'm sure they still got some decent ones out there for a good low price. But again, when you're trying to balance between your RAM and your motherboard, you can do this. Basically, you can find a cheap motherboard, but they're not you can get a mid-level motherboard for a low price. If you can get it below $100, if you get it for $80 and it's a mid-level motherboard, and you go to balance it with your RAM that's a little bit higher in price, at the end of the day, when you put them both together, if you weigh out how much it costs, between budget motherboard and your RAM being high priced, and you put your CPU and everything with it, and you go to build another system in the same light, but kind of try to balance the two, you'll see that the one that you go and pick all different parts for is going to be more priced than the ones that you can find on the deals. Find the deals. Look at your motherboards very carefully. I've seen a couple that's on Amazon that was really good. You could also go to Newegg as well. So just for your holiday shopping, if you want to finish up on something 3 days before Christmas, try to find yourself something decent. And we all know that, when you go to order now from Amazon, Newegg, and all that, unless you go to Best Buy and buy it out directly, you're going to be waiting a couple days for it. So never know. You might get it by Christmas, you might not, but that's a risk you'll have to take. But anyway, if you made it to the end of the video with me and you enjoyed everything, make sure you hit what are you supposed to hit, guys? Guys, what are you supposed to hit? The subscribe button, the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next video or live stream. Until the next time, in the next video, you know who it is, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.